Coming up on this episode of Mind the Game. A lot of fans don't love the fouling up three.
Listen, our league is a three-point shooting league. So why not, if you have an opportunity to win or close the percentage of you winning the game, possibly, take it away.
Let's talk about guys who have made a leap this year.
The first guy I'm gonna talk about, because he's been taking a leap after leap after leap over the last few years, is Tyrese Maxey.
Another guy that's really kind of caught my eye is Stephon Castle. I just think this guy is a two-way, full-court player, explosive downhill driver, playmaker, gritty, combative, physical defender.
Someone who I also have been working out with the last 2 summers is Jalen Johnson in Atlanta.
Deni Avdija. I mean, this is a quality player.
He's a big-time player. He's good. He's really good.
Player development has to be in concert with the style of play your team has and your role on that team.
You just triggered me right there. Like,
no,
I've done skill training my whole career, of course, obviously, but I've also done things that I felt like were what we were going to run.
How do you feel about fouling up three late in games?
Oh yeah, if I'm coaching, we fouling up 3.
Same. Now, what would your rules be? Like, how much time? Under what amount of time would you say is your time? Are you a guy that's like, I'll do it early in the last minute, or are you like, I want to wait till we get under a certain?
Nah, I will wait to a certain extent. Obviously, you got to see how many timeouts that you personally have. Where if you do foul up 3, you can advance the ball. The last thing you want to do is not have any timeouts. You fouled up 3. And you have to take the ball underneath your basket. If they get a strip or they get to trap you and get a steal, they're closer to the rim. So you have to see how many timeouts you have, how many timeouts they have as well. How long can they extend the game, as well. So I'm more of a under 30 seconds, under 24-second type foul up 3 guy. And like I said, those other variables matter on, timeout situation, who has the ball, whatever the case may be, all those things.
Yeah, I think the other 2 other variables, I mean, for sure, timeouts is a big one, is how good a free throw shooting team are you? How many good free throw shooters do you have? And one that I think is underrated is how good of an inbound passer you have on your team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You can get caught sometimes where teams are going to pressure, foul. They got to try to go for a steal, but while fouling, they're going to go run through people. If you have a great passer, it makes all your actions, your get-in plays way much easier.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that in the playoffs. Was it last year or the year before in the Indiana-Boston series where, they had opportunity. Indiana had opportunities to foul up 3 late game. I think Jalen Brown hit a 3. Sending it to overtime, and then Indiana had a chance to win the game still, but could not inbound the ball. Boston gets a steal, win the game. These are moments and times where you have to have like a great inbounder, like you said, trust on your inbounder. You have to actually work on these plays too.
Yeah.
You have to work. You have to take 5 minutes at the end of practice. Let's walk through this. Everybody on the baseline. What is our up 3 need play to get in? What is our up 2 need play to get the ball in? What is it if a team is fouling us? What is who takes the ball out? Who is in the back court? Who is in the front court? Is it on the side? Is it behind our basket? Is it behind it? All those type of things. So, you have to work on that. But those are good. Those are good things.
That's a great point for the common fan to know that NBA teams have to take time. In the picture of all these things, the defensive schemes, matchups, switching, icing, hitting, peeling, fronting, flooding, all the different schemes, all the different offensive sets, need plays, down 3, down 2, all that stuff. You have to go over a package of get in under your basket, get in on the sideline, get in advanced, and also, it's nice if only 5 guys have to know it. But the reality is guys are injured, guys are in foul trouble. In a game, everyone's got to know. And sometimes the most valuable part is if your team knows it on the fly, when you don't have a timeout and you can be like, touchdown, and you get into whatever touchdown. It is.
Whatever it is.
Not to mention plays you advance it where you can still go in the backcourt. And so then there's full court plays where maybe you put 2 people in the parking lot and ask them, what are you going to do? Are you going to put 2 guys back there with them or 1 and bring 2 up here where you're better fielder? So there's a lot of thought and process that goes in, but it's hard. You know, like you never know who's in the game. Have they had any reps at this? Because it's not the type of thing you get a ton of reps at. So it is. That's a great point. How important is the preparation with your personnel to play these things? What about technique of fouling? Technique of fouling up 3. What are your thoughts on that?
There's multiple ways that you can foul up 3. Obviously, if it's full court, you want to do it way before a guy gets to half court. You want to do it on a downward dribble. A guy's dribbling the ball. Once you see that ball go down, foul. You don't want to do it while the ball is coming up because a guy can raise. And guys are making threes from half court these days. Listen, you can't say it's not a 3-point shot. If it's in the half court and the teams are running plays and they're crisscrossing, whatever the case may be, and the guy catches the ball in the paint, foul. Run
inside
through it.
The 3, yeah,
inside the 3. You can run through that foul, call it a pass interference. If a guy catches the ball on above the 3-point line with his back towards the basket,
great point.
Bear hug him. You can bear hug him.
Or
so there's
running away, running away.
Running away. Absolutely, grab him. So there's so many different ways where you can foul guys. And obviously the one way that you do not want to foul a guy is before the ball is entered.
Right.
Because that's 1 shot plus the ball on the side. So you got to be cautious about, if that ball hasn't been released from the guy that's out of bounds, you're already fouling or you're grabbing, whatever the case may be. Now it's not a 3-point game, it's a 2-point game. And now you have to, play straight up defense. So there's ways of fouling smartly, but you also got to be careful versus guys that, certain teams, certain guys who are used to guys trying to foul them, so they kind of get into the shot, a little bit sooner than others. But there are ways to make sure that it doesn't happen for sure.
It is an uncomfortable thing though. Right, as a defender.
If you're not comfortable with doing it, I wouldn't do it because you're gonna have the coaches on the coaches and your teammates on your ass.
Right, you have to do it with confidence. You have to be declarative. You have to be intentional. You can't go out there. Should I? Shouldn't I? You got to be ready to run through. Right. When you have the chance, run through. Get a piece, knock him over. He's back to the basket, like you said, dribbling down. Because I think once you start to get doubt in your mind, that's when you get played.
Yep, that's when you get played. Sure. That's when you get played.
A lot of fans don't love the fouling up 3, but I think it's pretty universal now from a coaching standpoint. Like, depending on time, score, team, all that stuff, when you started and how, but it feels like it's pretty universal. Most teams are gonna foul.
Listen, our league is a 3-point shooting league. So why not? If you have an opportunity to win or close the percentage of you winning the game, possibly take it away.
Yeah, take the.
And that's the best way to take it away is the foul. Obviously, you're not doing that throughout the course of the game, putting your team in a penalty early and early in the quarter. But listen, late game, under a minute, under 30 seconds, you up 3. It's been a hard fought game. Team may have made 12 threes, 13 threes in a game. You don't want 14 to happen. 14 to happen, you lose it. You can lose in overtime that way. So, I just seen the game the other. I wasn't watching the game, but I saw the clip of Charlotte in Cleveland. Brandon Miller. Had it. They down 3, Cleveland up 3, and Brandon Miller gets a little room off Darius Garland. Darius Garland falls to the ground. Brandon Miller makes a 3, overtime, and they beat Cleveland in Cleveland. Yeah. I don't want to go through that.
No.
For me personally, I'm about to be 41 years old. First of all, another 5 minutes to me right now, another 5 minutes to me messes up my whole day the next day. My sleep. I gotta get to my sleep. This ain't game time. This is sleep time.
Sleep time.
Sleep
heart rate.
time.
It's my heart rate variability.
I'm telling you. So yes, in the game, end it. Let's get out of here.
And when you have the chance, right? Too many good players in our league. Too many things can happen. Too much variance with the talent, size, ability of guys. You got to try to take the bat out of their hands when you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Playing 18 seasons in the NBA, I've lived in and out of hotels for what seems like my entire life. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten in the same generic elevator, walked down the same generic hallway, and set my bags down on the same generic chair. So anytime I travel now, I'm looking for a more unique experience, which is why I check out Airbnb first when I'm planning a trip. I've done everything from cabins for trips in the mountains to beach houses. I want a big kitchen, a spacious living room, and a solid outdoor space. And if there's a hot tub, that's a bonus. When it comes to travel, staying at a home on Airbnb is just a better experience because of the home-like qualities they provide. And hosting your home on Airbnb can give that feeling of home to others. If you're heading out of town for a big game or sporting event, why not let your home become part of the excitement? By opening your space to fellow fans, you're giving them the comfort of home and earning yourself some extra income while you're away. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host. As someone who's lived and played across the globe, I learned what makes a flight truly exceptional. And let me tell you, Emirates Economy Class is the real deal. With over 260 modern aircraft connecting more than 160 destinations worldwide, Emirates has got game. I'm talking generous legroom that even a former NBA player appreciates. Their latest aircraft offers 4K HD touchscreens loaded with thousands of channels of entertainment, making these long-haul flights fly by. Plus, their generous baggage allowance means no more worrying about packing. Emirates understands that traveling can be as stressful as a playoff game. That's why they've created an experience that feels like home. The moment you spot Emirates staff at the airport, you know you're in good hands. Their crew treats every passenger like an MVP. Look, I've flown countless of airlines, but Emirates Economy Class, it's like having home court advantage 40,000 feet in the air. Go to emirates.com to learn more. All right, Bron, let's talk about guys who have made a leap this year. You know, some bigger than others, but it's always impressive and inspiring to see a guy improve his game because you know that comes from hard work and discipline. So sometimes it's a little bit of opportunity, but even with opportunity, largely if you haven't done the work and prepared, you're not going to see guys take a leap. So I think it's important to like kind of show a little light on these guys. I always like to inspire the youth. So let's shine some of these guys who have taken a step.
Yeah, no, I think that's the best thing about our league when you see guys take like that next leap. You know, from one year to the next, next year. And two guys in particular for me, like obviously we've seen, the first guy I'm going to talk about because he's been taking a leap after leap after leap over the last few years is Tyrese Maxey. I've worked out and trained with him over the last few summers. Every morning, 5 a.m., we're in the gym, 5:30, whatever, in the gym. And you just see like his dedication, shows up on time, on target every single day. A guy who just loves the game and is taking full advantage of the opportunity in Philly, and I love the kid. He's I talked about it when we played Philly, not too long ago, about how not only incredible of a basketball player he is, but how much better he is as a person, which is saying a lot because he's an unbelievable basketball player. The second guy is someone who I also have been working out with the last 2 summers is Jalen Johnson in Atlanta. Oof. And a lot of it is situational too. I think, the injury to Trae Young has sprouted even more of what Jalen is capable of doing. They've put him at this Scottie Pippen role where he's playing like this point forward. And not only is he scoring, he's rebounding at a high rate and he's dishing the ball. We've seen over like the last month where he might have 3, 4, 5 triple doubles. Playing the game at a high level and just, I just love the improvement. I love seeing that. I love seeing that in this league where guys take advantage of situation or, come in from their work, what they did in the summertime and able to apply it, to the season and take full advantage of it. So those are 2 of the guys that come to mind right away today. And I love it because I'm in the gym with those guys. I've seen it over the last few summers and I love, what has happened.
For sure. I think, let's start with Maxey, but I want to dive in a little bit on both of them. I think great players in our league, an element that makes people great consistently is rim pressure. Like if you can constantly put paint pressure, rim pressure on a defense, it doesn't mean you're always getting to the rim, but the threat that you can get there, whether it's speed, strength, Jokic does it because skill, but also size. He can bully his way to the rim every time. So everyone's got to come because once he gets in there, he's too big for everyone. Maxey does it with speed. Johnson does it with athleticism. Yeah. But that pressure allows you to get more opportunities from three, allows you to get playmaking opportunities. I mean, we've seen Jalen Johnson take a big jump, a lot of, 13, 14, 15 assist games this season for a guy that's essentially been a small forward or even a power forward his whole life. So I think when you look at these two guys, they're two guys that constantly are a threat to get to the paint and get to the rim, which allows them to show this wide skill set. So with Maxey, incredible speed and athleticism. The pace, right? Like it's overwhelming at times. You can see like guys just can't keep him in front.
No, they just can't. And that's God-given right there. That's God-given speed and talent. And he said, you know what? I know, what I was possessed with, and I'm going to take full advantage of it and not only use that to my advantage, but also it creates so much, like you said, that downhill pressure at the rim. But also a lot of guys know his speed, so they try to like cut him off, and his ability to have a tight handle and snatch back and hit those step back threes, and get to the free throw line and make his mid range and make his floater. The kid has everything, and he's one of the best point guards. Obviously not only in the Eastern Conference, but in the NBA.
And not a small guard. How tall do you think Tyrese is?
I wouldn't classify him as a small guard. I don't know how tall Tyrese is.
I think at least 6'3".
Yeah, I would say. Yeah. And kind of sneaky athletic too. If he get that right leg down, he kind of sneaky athletic too.
For sure, and kind of long, it feels like he's got good length.
Yeah, good length. Yeah.
Can stretch out. He had a big game winner and then the block at the other end recently where he made the fadeaway against the Warriors and chased down, I can't remember, Melton maybe on a breakaway, got an incredible block.
Yeah.
So there is definitely sneaky athleticism.
Yeah, he's big time. He's big time.
But he's also gone up in his three-point usage. Like he's shooting more threes, playing off the ball a lot more than he was. So I like that there's a balance there. He obviously has the transition. He obviously has pick and roll, ISO.
Yeah.
But getting off the ball, running off actions, making people chase, turn the corner, or shoot from three has added a kind of a new element and balance to his game.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to guard guys that have the ball, obviously, with speed and quickness. But I think it's even harder to guard guys when they're off the ball and they're actually running towards the ball because you can't get a hand on guys. You're not allowed to hold guys. You got guys that's coming out of the corners full speed, and do you chase him over this? Do you try to gap it? If you gap, he can either stop behind it and shoot the three, or now they just turn around and rescreen it, and now you're playing from behind, and he's very dynamic in that too. So, if you have the ability, there's not that many guys that can be just as dynamic with the ball as off the ball. And I remember we mentioned this a lot in a lot of our episodes with Steph Curry. Like he's most dangerous when he gives up the ball. The number one reason why that is that most defense and personnel, when they're guarding a guy that's dynamic and that guy gets off the ball, for one split second, they think it's, man, he gave up the ball. Nope. And that's what makes Steph the most dynamic on-ball, off-ball basketball player in NBA history.
I also think the way the game's going, now, first of all, there's so many good players in our league. If a great player is off the ball in movement, the first job is to stop the ball.
Correct.
Right? So everyone has to have their attention on the ball while also doing two jobs at once and being aware of whether you're on the ball or off the ball, the off-ball movement, the cut, the screen. But I do think the way the game's going, the pace we're playing at, the sophistication of the defense, teams getting in the gaps and flying out and rotating, so it's harder and harder to get in the paint. The days of the better players getting the ball, stopping, holding it, sizing everyone up, like it's not efficient anymore. I think there's a lot of players that, it goes both ways, but there's a lot of players that could get a lot better if they don't need to catch it, hold, let their guy get neutral again, if they can play on the move, whether it's on the cut, whether it's coming off a screen, whether it's curling, whether it's catching and ripping. Do you not think the game is going where that's more valuable or more?
I do. I think so, for sure. One, there's so many different. We didn't have this many defenses and nuances of how to play defenses versus isolated players back. I mean, I would say, 5 to 7 years ago.
Sure.
Now, there's so many different ways to get the ball out of a guy's hands if he's just sitting there isoing on the wing. You can flood the whole side and bring another guy to the elbow. You could literally, run a guy and just go trap him, and now you got 3 defenders. You got the guy that's guarding the ball, the guy that came over to trap him, and you have the sideline. So there's so many different ways. And in our game of pace and space and rhythm, it throws you out of rhythm. You kind of want the ball, popping, or you want the trigger to happen either by the pass or by a pick and roll. You have a dynamic pick and roll player that can attract, 2 on the ball. Now you're playing the 4-on-3 game. You're playing the numbers game. That's the game right now. It's the numbers game. How can you start the blender? Is the blender being started by the pass? Is it pass and cut? Is it what the Miami Heat are doing? Or is it what the Lakers are doing? While we start a lot of our, plays with pick and roll because we have such a dynamic, pick and roll player in Luka. So the trigger, how do you create the blender? How do you create the trigger? And creating the trigger ever used to be in where guys catch the ball at the elbow or, in the Karl Malone area and catch it and face up and jab and that you need it a little bit, but it's definitely on the lower side of that pie chart now. It is not a big piece of the demographic of winning basketball. In my case, I don't see it.
You're right. It's just so much harder to catch, survey, and play. It's so much harder to just back your guy down from outside the 3-point line. Catch on the elbow. Everyone that has to be dynamic movement off the ball. But the big thing for me, a lot of players I think have to understand is there's a habit. You play in the summertime. You've been the focal point. You're playing one-on-one. You're used to playing one-on-one. You want to get good at playing one-on-one. Defenses are too sophisticated. Like you said, they're too in the gaps. They're drawing attention. You have to take whatever advantage. So playing on the move.
Yeah. It's so funny you just said that, Steve, about like guys get to the summertime. Every year, at the end of the season, there's an exit meeting with your coach, with your GM, whatever. They usually, tell you, hey, great year, whatever the case may be. We'll be in touch, whatever the case may be, whatever. I wonder how many players take the initiative to say, hey, coach, hypothetical, hey, Coach Reddick, like, where do you see me in our scheme of things for next year so I can work on it throughout the summer?
Right.
Skill development, of course. I'm going to, work on my skill development. But where do you see me fitting in with how you and the coaching staff are going to play? Because it's so funny you just say that. A lot of guys, you see it all through the summer. Guys are posting videos and clips of them working out and, doing, 5 or 6, combo moves and pull-ups and things of that nature and, backing down and think. And you get into the season and you realize this is not going to be the style of play that coaching staff had envisioned. It's not no knock on you. It's how they envision on how the team is going to play. So now I feel like a lot of guys waste a lot of time in the offseason by not getting an understanding from their coach, from their coaching staff on how are we going to play in the fall. So not only during my I do skill development twice a week. And then I do, what are we going to run in the summer? So now I can break that down to, we're going to run a lot of drags. 77, I'll be the second roller. Or, a lot of follows. I could get to that, pitch it to my summer, my summer developer, and hip tap and roll and play the 4-on-3 game. Like,
it's a great point.
I mean, I don't think many trainers are going to tell their guys to work on hip tap and roll and get behind the defense anyways, because that takes them out of working too. So, but you just triggered me right there. Like, I've done skill training my whole career, of course, obviously, but I've also done things that I felt like were what we were going to run. How were we going to play? And you develop that because you're wasting too much time if you're just doing all skill development. That you're not going to be able to use that skill. The coaches may not even. They're like, we're not using it in that fashion.
Yeah.
So how can you take that? I think that's the next step for a lot of players as well too. That's trying to, get better the next year too.
I think that's a really smart comment for a lot of players out there in the league, in college, and high school. Player development has to be in concert with the style of play your team has and your role on that team.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that 10% of it isn't where I want to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. But how am I going to play? Because else you don't get on the floor, you're not as efficient, you play less minutes. I get calls, fairly frequently from NBA guys want to work with me, get in the gym or do some work. And I always say, like, yeah, I'm happy to work with you, but I want to talk to your coaches first. Because I want to know, like, what do you see for this player? Where do you see him fitting into your team? What role do you want him to have? Before I start saying, hey, man, let's get to it. Let's do this. Let's do that. That's a waste of time. And then it's also now he's getting 2 messages. It's not going to help the kid get better.
Guy comes back to the season starting. He's doing he's doing hang dribble, skip outs, shooting threes and shit. Hey, where the hell kid you learn that? Hey, man, Steve told me that. Hey, let's.
Right. 100%. That doesn't need to be on my name.
Right.
I think it's important to let's get in lockstep here with your player development coach, your assistant coaches, your head coach. Like, what is the ask of you in this system to make an improvement? And sometimes it's simple. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be like some crazy isolation. It's like you said, like a tap and go footwork.
Yeah.
Do it 1,000 times this summer. So you're always on balance, always on rhythm, always on timing. What's the counter? All that stuff. So it doesn't sound sexy. It's not great for the gram.
Right.
The tap and slip. Whatever. It doesn't get you likes, but that's what's going to get you minutes. That's going to make you more efficient. So I think it's a great point you bring up.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about Jalen Johnson? Like, what's the ceiling for this guy? I mean, he can score at 3 levels. Yeah. Incredible athlete. He's
like I mentioned Scottie Pippen, man. And obviously he has a long way to go. But as far as the talent, you look at a guy with long arms, 6'9", 6'10", runs like a deer, super athletic. He's improved his outside touch. But like you said, putting pressure on the rim, his ability to rebound, he can guard. He can guard 1 through 5. For the majority of 1s and 5s. There's some 5s that would be a little bit challenging, but that's what you're talking about. Embiid, you're talking about Joker. Obviously, they're mismatches for anybody. And his playmaking, I see that he's going to continue to improve. And one thing about our league is just like, it's all about confidence and opportunity. And once you take advantage of that opportunity and your confidence continue to, you're like, I know I can do this. I can do this every night. It's not going to be, the triple double every night. It's not going to always be, 15 assists every night. But you're starting to know the nuances of the game on making the right play, and things of that nature. So I love his ceiling. I don't know what his ceiling is, but I know it's not low. I think it continue to I think it's very high, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I think he's on pace to be an all-star in the East this year for sure. There's no doubt about it.
No, for sure. I think he's playing at all-star level, and I think he's, with some health. I think he's a perennial all-star, just the way he's started. Because this is the first year he's really had this much responsibility.
Exactly.
He's come through.
And he's been healthy he's been healthy so far. And like you just said, health is wealth. Health is wealth in life, obviously, but it is. Being available to your teammates and being available every night. That means a lot. So.
Yeah, for sure. Another guy that's really kind of caught my eye is Stephon Castle. Averaging 18 points, that's 4 more than last year, 7 assists, that's 3 more than last year. True shooting at 60%, that's up 8%. I just think this guy is a two-way, full-court player, explosive downhill driver, playmaker, gritty, combative, physical defender. To me, the last thing to come here, and he's made some threes, is the 3-point shooting, but he can make them.
Yeah, he made a few. He made a few against us too. So yeah. And if that's the last thing to come, then and the shot is not broken.
Right.
Beautiful shot.
Yeah.
That's just all about reps. It's just all about reps. Yeah. Super. I love that kid. Love the kid. Yeah. Loved him. Watched him a lot in high school on the circuit. Loved this 1 year at UConn. And obviously last year, love his demeanor. He's very stoic. Like his demeanor never changes throughout the game. You could tell he's like super locked in on whatever the job is at hand. I love his upside.
And I like you said the demeanor, but the demeanor's combative. Like he's going to be physical. You're going to feel him. You're going to feel him at both ends. You're going to feel him on drives. You're going to feel him defensively.
Yeah.
You know how important that is in our league today, and what an element that brings to someone's game, but also a team game. So I really like the leap he's taken. Let me go for one last guy that's taken a leap here, and it's been kind of fun to watch. Is Deni Avdija in Portland? 25 points per game. That's +8 from last year. 6 assists. That's 2 up from last year. True shooting, 62%. That's up 2% from last year. I mean, here's maybe the biggest one. Is he's top 4 at time of recording in foul rate. 9.5 free throws a game. Up there with Shea, Luka, and AR. So, I mean, this is a guy that gets downhill is a problem.
No, he's a physical drive. He's a physical driver to the rim. And if you don't have a body in front of him, if you're on the side of him, then he's going to get that foul call. He's super physical, especially going downhill to his right hand. And like you said, he's worked a lot on his outside shooting too. When he was in Washington, that's the one thing he did have. He's always had this speed with the ball, very fast with the ball, downhill to his right hand, big body, big wing. But this year in particular, I've seen him expand his range and make some shots from the perimeter at a more consistent rate. And it's resulted in him having a breakout career year so far.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like he's and I could be wrong, I feel like he's in a little better shape. He just feels a little sharper.
Yeah.
Getting to the cracks. Like you said, he's shooting, so that makes him faster too.
Yeah.
Good playmaker, makes plays for others. He's a guy I think Washington probably is
kicking themselves.
ruining their decision there because, I mean, this is a quality player in our
He's
league.
A quality player. He's a big-time player. He's good. He's really good.
And a smart player, can read defense as well too. So that's fun. This is always fun to talk about guys that have taken a leap, and those are some of many that have taken a leap. And it's fun to highlight the differences.
Absolutely, absolutely.
There's nothing like going from a relaxing airport lounge to an even more relaxing hotel, followed by dinner, a concert, and doing it all over again. With the newly enhanced American Express Platinum Card, upping your travel game just got a whole lot better. There's nothing like having more time for another round of golf or soaking up some sun by the pool. With access to a suite of benefits with the largest curated global hotel program as compared to other credit card programs, I can enjoy world-class amenities with tailored service and a view to top it all off. Whether I'm escaping the cold or exploring it on the slopes, Amex Platinum takes my travel game to the next level. With an array of premium travel, dining, and entertainment benefits, all backed by American Express's award-winning service, there's nothing like Platinum. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/withplatinum. And now over to our director, Jason, for a word from our partner, DraftKings.
Thanks to DraftKings for sponsoring the show. January basketball. This is where the league really starts to find its rhythm. The holiday games are behind us. Teams are really starting to figure out their identity. And every night you're seeing guys make their case for all-star spots or pushing their teams into playoff position. The season gets real right about now. There's no better way to stay locked in than with our partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. And right now, all new customers who sign up using promo code MIND and bet $5 get $300 in bonus bets if your first bet hits. Minimum odds of -500 required. And never forget, DraftKings same-game parlays let you stack multiple plays from a single matchup. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on star player props and in-progress games as they happen. Player props, in-game momentum swings, all of it. Whether you're watching to see how a playoff race shakes out, DraftKings gives you a way to stay locked in on all the details you might have otherwise missed. It changes how you watch the game. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now using code MIND to bet just $5 to get $300 in bonus bets if your first bet hits. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Help My Game fan questions of the week.
Okay.
From real TIL Neil, Real Till Neil from X. What are the best sets to use against teams in drop or teams that switch pick and roll? I'll let you have a thought on that first.
The best sets to run versus teams in drop
or concepts.
Or in switch. Well, obviously, when you got teams in a drop pick and roll, if you have a dynamic point guard that's able to make those reads or whatever the case may be, it helps out a lot. So if you're a pick and roll team and you're coming off and that 5 man is in a deep drop, if you have a point guard that has the ability to shoot the ball, and your big can get a good clean screen on who's ever guarding the ball handler, it's going to then extend the defense at some point. The coaches are going to make an adjustment. They don't want you to keep coming off and just keep raising up. There's no help. The opposing player that's guarding the ball is going to get frustrated. He's going to be calling for the big. Come up. I need to hear you. I need to see you. So I think that helps too. But also, against switching teams, getting that ball movement, create confusion with hip taps, quick hip taps, ghost screens. If you chase the ball and then, he thinks he's going to set a pick and roll and you just slip out of it. That creates, confusion. You get behind the defense and you create the numbers game. So, a lot of teams that switch a lot, they point switch. So, you got some opportunities to be able to run some flares. You got an opportunity to run some rip screens, some rips and slips to the rim. So you have to see how they're switching, who they're switching with, and I think that would help out a lot. Yeah,
I think in switching defenses, I think those are great calls. And then I think the other part is you have to mix it up. Play with pace. You have to flip screens. We talked about slipping, but like flipping screens, catching the defender on the wrong side. Play get game, whatever it may be. Get to sets where your pace and your variance is different. So they're not looking at the same thing. If you play slow, you walk into screens every time, they get into you and they're physical. Yeah. They get under, there's nowhere to slip, they receive you. They can push you back if they want to. So it's really important, I think, to play with pace, be really intentional with what you do, and then to mix it up. Like LeBron said, you want to be able to slip, you want to be able to go screen, but you want to be able to flip screens, play get game. All that variance, I think, makes it difficult against switching defenses. And then for my thoughts on a drop is when you have a 3-level scorer, it's a tough defense to go to drop because that guy can come off on a good screen. He's got the 3-ball, he's got the mid-range. He could attack the big to score or to play make. So I think what a lot of coaches do if they feel like they have a center that's not capable of being up to touch to take space away from that 3-level score is then they bring the wings in and shrink the floor and play in the gaps. Yeah. So then you just have to be willing to make early passes and trust your teammates. Make them pay for being in too tight, get off it early, let that next guy play 2-on-1, shoot it, play 2-on-1, drive and kick with the corner. But again, the way the game's going, the one thing that's in common to this is being decisive and playing on the move, being willing to get rid of it early and play as a team because defenses are getting too sophisticated to just be so deliberate with all your actions.
Agreed. Great call there, Steve. Mom, I'm shooting the podcast. I'll call you back. Mama.
What's up, Mom?
Love you. I love you, Mom. Look.
You're going to be our guest soon.
Yeah. Steve said you got to be our guest soon. Okay. All right. Love you. All right. Stay warm out there. I'll call you later.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks for watching Mind the Game. New episodes drop every other Tuesday. Remember to like, subscribe, or follow wherever you're watching.